Around a year and 10,000 miles ago, we got ourselves a Honda Civic Hybrid. And in its time with us, it's lived up to almost all of the high expectations that we had for this car. But there are a few things that you should know if you're going to buy one, because even the best cars, they aren't perfect. We're gonna tell you the good, the bad, what broke, and what it's worth after a year. We're Edmunds, and we test hundreds of cars each year on the road and at our private track, so you get the most trusted reviews. If you want to know which car, truck, or SUV is the best, then stick with us. We were so impressed with the updated 2025 Civic, specifically the Prius-fighting hybrid version, that we gave it our Edmunds Top Rated Best of the Best award for that year. And that's a big deal because that's the award that goes to the best overall vehicle. So this thing was practically begging for a spot in our garage, and we were happy to oblige. We landed on a Civic Sport Touring Hatchback, the hybrid version, so that we could test out all the features that this car has to offer and tell you whether or not they're worth it. Now this cost us just under $35,000. But of course, what you'll actually pay for a Civic or any other new car depends on dealers in your area. And that's why we've got tools at Edmunds that tell you what you should pay. Check out the links in the description or scan the QR code. As a part of our one-year road test fleet of 20 or so vehicles, many of our staff members got behind the wheel of this Civic and put it through every situation imaginable. And as you could guess, they had some good things to say about it.
I do love how the car drives. It's really easy to maneuver through traffic, and the acceleration is very smooth. And the suspension makes for a really smooth ride.
So this Honda hybrid powertrain in particular is really impressive. Right from the start, you get this smooth, quiet, effortless torque, and then the gas engine will engage seamlessly when you need it at higher speeds. So driving the Civic Hybrid is not just fun, but I would even say it's better than some fully electric cars as far as just day-to-day drivability. My only critique for this car has to be the regenerative braking system. I like to drive it with the highest setting of regen, so clicking up on that left steering paddle, but then it'll reset to the low setting every single time I come to a stop. And I find that just mildly annoying.
Whether you're buying gas or electric, check out bumper.com. With just a VIN or license plate number, learn about a car's history quick. Find out how many owners it has had, where it was registered, and more. To learn more, visit bumper.com/Edmunds. So it's pretty clear that our staff loves the way that this Civic Hybrid drives. But we also had a few comments that specifically called out its great fuel economy.
Road trip fuel economy, it was great. I drove down to San Diego and back about 270 miles. That was in mixed traffic, and I got 53.4 mpg, which is really good in any car. And I only used half a tank of regular gas. Thank you, Civic.
Now, if you're looking for a deeper dive into this Civic beyond the comments that our staff has, this vehicle has been featured in many reviews and comparisons throughout the year. So if you want to know whether you should buy a gas or hybrid, sedan or hatchback, or how this stacks up against its many competitors, check out all those videos in the description.
If you're buying a Civic, the hatchback is the way to go. We have plenty of experience with the sedan, and the hatch makes it so much easier to load items into the cargo area. There's a low liftover height, lots of clearance above, and an easy retractable cargo cover. The whole thing just works.
Now, before we get into the things that we didn't like, remember, we are big fans of this Civic. This is a well-rounded, affordable car with a high-quality interior, a terrific powertrain with its engine and electric motors, and more cargo space and interior storage than you would expect for a vehicle of this size. But live with anything for a year and you're gonna find some things that you don't like as much.
Is our Civic quiet? Not so much. There is a ton of tire noise on the freeway. And that firm, controlled suspension that we really like around town or on a curvy road, when you get up to freeway speeds and you're hitting expansion joints on the freeways around here or big potholes, it can be kind of uncomfortable.
Along with the noise levels, there was one other issue that we ran into if you were taking this car on a long trip.
I really like the Civic a lot, but there's two things that keep me from wanting to take it on a long road trip. Number one, the lack of adjustable lumbar support. It's fine around town, but if you're taking a long trip, not having the ability to add a little bit of extra lumbar really does hurt the drive. And number two, road noise. I know it's an economy car, but out on the highway, this thing is loud. You put those two things together, I'm picking something else for my next road trip.
And that seat problem, it wasn't just Keith. One of the advantages of keeping these cars for a year is that people of all shapes and sizes drive them, and 4 other drivers also reported having problems with the seat comfort in this Civic. And another problem, if you did happen to fill up all the seats in this car, there wasn't quite as much cargo space as you might expect. Better than the sedan, but still.
The cargo space on the Civic wasn't really big enough for 4 people on a long trip. We had to cram bags and coolers in the trunk just to make it fit, and even use the middle compartment as extra storage. We did make it work by using my high-level Tetris skills, but next time I think I'll get a small SUV for a trip with 4 people.
In a previous video, we directly compared the cargo areas of the sedan and the hatchback. And even though the hatchback has a big advantage on paper, it was actually only able to fit one more piece of luggage than the sedan. But where this thing has an advantage is if you're trying to move a larger item. There are things that simply won't fit in the back of the Civic sedan that you can easily load into the hatchback. And the tech, it isn't great either. Honda has never been a leader when it comes to infotainment, and we don't really need a 20-inch screen in our tiny hybrid commuter, but still, we wish for a little more here.
The tech is a major weak point. The reverse camera is a little bit blurry and distorted at times, and unlike the Elantra and the K4, there's no 360-degree option. The wireless charging pad doesn't work so consistently, and although the display and the Google systems are great, the screen is a little bit cramped by modern standards, especially when you're using Apple CarPlay.
And the tech issues, they aren't just limited to the touchscreen. Honda is also lagging behind competitors when it comes to driving assist.
The Civic's driver aids were never quite ready for prime time. Say you're using the adaptive cruise control and a car suddenly cuts in front of you on the highway. It seems like the Civic will brake too late and too hard, and then once that car starts to pull away, it'll accelerate too late, leaving too big of a gap between yourself and the car in front of you. I just don't trust the system as much as I'd like to, and we think Honda has a little bit of room for improvement in this area.
The last negative that we need to cover is fuel economy. Now, this is definitely going to get you much better efficiency than with a standard gas engine, and even though we averaged over 50 mpg on some longer drives over its year with us, this vehicle fell short of expectations. This Civic Hybrid should offer an estimated 48 mpg combined according to the EPA. But with how we use it, we were expecting something closer to its 45 mpg city number. However, after a year of tracking all of the fill-ups, it fell short of even that, only 41.1 mpg. Now, your use case probably won't include instrumented testing, and of course, it depends on how you drive, but I think it's fair to say we expected more from this vehicle when it came to fuel savings. Now, overall, our impressions of the Civic Hybrid are very, very positive, but there is still room for growth. As far as maintenance goes, there isn't much of a story here, as you might expect with a Honda. The most dramatic thing that happened was a broken windshield. But if you haven't had a windshield replaced in the last few years, this next part, it might be tough to hear. Remember those driver assistance systems that we just mentioned? Well, the cameras and sensors that power those, they live behind the glass. And that means that the windshields, they need to be manufactured to a really high standard so those instruments can see the road clearly. And when you're replacing the windshield, they also need to be recalibrated to make sure that they're working correctly. And our Civic Sport Touring also comes with acoustic laminated glass to make the cabin quieter and automatic rain sensing windshield wipers. Now, if you add all those factors together, plus parts and labor, replacing this windshield at the dealership, it cost us over $2,000. And that's not the Civic's fault, but still, yikes. Speaking of cost, our fully loaded Civic Hybrid Sport Touring hatchback model cost just under $35,000. And a year and almost 10,000 miles later, when we brought it to a dealership, we got an offer for 28 grand. Now that is excellent value retention. You can expect the Civic to depreciate less than any of its competitors like the Toyota Corolla, the Nissan Sentra, or the Hyundai Elantra. And of course, if you're trying to figure out what your current vehicle is worth, we've got tools for that on our site. Head over to edmunds.com/sellmycar to get an instant cash offer. So, is the Civic worth the money? That question is a little bit complicated because there are competitors that are going to offer you more for your money, like the Kia K4. That car has better technology, a larger screen, and it offers some premium features that the Civic lacks, like ventilated front seats and a surround view camera system. But this Civic, it just feels so refined, from the way that it drives to its high quality interior with real metal switchgear, and of course its hybrid powertrain is going to give it an efficiency advantage over the gas-only Kia. Put all that together and we would say that yes, this Civic has definitely been worth the money. Before we wrap things up, if you've got questions about the Civic or any of the other vehicles in our 1-year road test fleet, let us know in the comments below. We do read them all. And if you've been enjoying our videos and find them helpful, the best way to help us make more of them is a like and subscribe. So our year with the Civic is up and we're going to be sad to see it go because it was such a great car to drive day to day. It's simple, honest transportation with the added bonus of being really fun from behind the wheel. To find things wrong with it, we really had to nitpick, but even with those caveats, we can safely say that this is an excellent vehicle that would be at home in pretty much anyone's garage. While the Civic Hybrid might not have won the Edmunds Top Rated Best of the Best award again for 2026, it still won the award for Best Car. And if you look at our compact sedan rankings, it's at the very, very top. So let us know what we should replace this with in our garage, and we'll be sure to introduce it when we do. But until then, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.